Hey, Judy.
Great to be here today. The Legal Authority podcast.
Absolutely. Judith Goldberg, and my name is Jay Rathman. I'm your host. I'm actually just Judy's sidekick because she's way better than me. Way better looking for sure. But we have a really cool episode today. I told you the story about this young lady. Her name's Allison. She's a client of ours, been with us literally for like 3 months, and recently had a baby, was working for another firm, wanted to go out on her own. And I remember our conversation. She was really nervous about investing in digital marketing, not because she didn't think it would work, but how long would it take to work, right? Could she afford to have that on-ramp? And, 2 months later, she's hired 2 staff because she's so busy.
This is just such a great viewing for everyone out there. This is a new lawyer within 3 or 4 years with your help, specifically Jay.
Our help.
Is practicing law. She has a firm, and that's how fast it happened for her.
Yep. So listen, we're going to start the episode, introduce you to Allison. So let's let it go. Here we go.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Legal Authority Podcast, presented by TheLegalAuthority.com. Here are your hosts, Jay Rathman and Judith Goldberg.
Welcome to another episode of the Legal Authority Podcast. The beautiful Judith Goldberg is with us today.
Good afternoon, Jay.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. It's been really nice down here in South Florida. I keep telling everybody to move down here. My family's in Buffalo, and they're getting snow every day, and it's just crazy. So I enjoy it down here, and I'm glad you moved down here, too.
I love it.
I think a lot of people that watch our podcast know your story. You were my very first client, put me in business, and then you moved down here, and now you help us with our clients, and you do the podcast with me, and it's just so much fun.
Well, you made it possible for me to retire in this way,
We all worked on it together. Anyway, Allison is joining us today. Allison, how are you?
I'm good. I wish we had the warm weather you have.
Right? Hey, you can come to Miami and visit anytime you want. We got room for you.
All right.
So I want to, and we'll get into, what made you decide to become a lawyer and all of that, which we do with every guest. But I'm really excited to talk about our story with us and with you. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but here's how I remember it. You were literally still working, in some capacity with the firm that you were working for a long time, and wanted to go out on your own, hang out your own shingle. And you had just had a baby, right? And so you had a lot going on in your life. And I remember the conversation, just like Melody Swelling, we had her on a few weeks ago. You were like, hey, this is going to be out of my budget. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And if this doesn't work, it's going to be disastrous. And you basically made me promise you that this was going to work. And I took that very seriously. And Stephen and Julie and I talked about it. And I just told them, I said, whatever we have to do, we have to do it. And we do that for all of our clients. But specifically, I wanted to make sure we won for you. And Stephen told me, you've only been with us, 3 months, I think?
Yeah.
And Stephen told me the other day that you now have somebody helping you intake the clients that you're getting.
Yes, and I'm going to hire my first remote attorney next week.
That's amazing.
Amazing. After 3 months. And do you attribute that to the website and the marketing that you've had with Jay?
Yes, I do. It's like my brick and mortar.
Right.
That's how I kind of see it. My office, my online presence.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I hope that you are getting maybe a feeling of security. Like now you're not worried about where your next client's coming from because somebody's going to call you today. It's just consistent.
The first few weeks, it was like, is this a fluke? Is this fluke? I'm sure it's a fluke. Next week, I'm not going to hear from anyone. And it kept happening, and they kept calling, and they're still, I think I got 3 calls this morning.
That's awesome. And like when I say you've been with us for 3 months, it took a month to build the website and the content. So
even have a logo.
Right. We built the logo for you. I remember that.
Love the logo. Yeah.
We created the name around the same time.
Right.
Ace.
So we literally we winged it. I mean, we not us, more you, but we were just there to kind of support you. Hey, whatever you need, let's do it. I know we built the logo. We built the website. We did the content. And
Yeah.
like literally in 60 days, which is about what it's been since we pushed the website live, this has all started to happen to the point where you're now hiring people to help you. And 3 months ago, you were like 1 foot in the door of where you were still working and 1 foot out of the door wanting to go on your own. And I just remember our conversation. You were just like, man, this has to work because it puts me in a bad spot if it doesn't, which put pressure on me, but I like pressure. But I'm super happy about your story. You have the coolest story of all of our clients, and I can't be more proud to be part of that. So when Steven said you could do the podcast today, I was like, yeah, this is going to be amazing.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming. So let's take a step back. At what point in your life did you get the aha moment that you wanted to be an attorney and chose to go in that direction?
So my parents would tell you I was 8 years old sitting in the law office when they were doing their real estate meeting because my family are farmers.
Okay.
And I was talking to their lawyer saying that I wanted to become a lawyer. But that came and went and life happened. And at one point in time, I thought it was too hard and that maybe I wasn't smart enough to do it. And so it got put on the back burner until a little bit later in life when I was running a 501c3 beginning farmer nonprofit, helping beginning farmers get into land access and navigating regulations with California as beginning farmers, and really hitting walls, not being able to fight for them, do anything more than just write a letter. And so that was the aha moment that I needed to go to law school in order to really, truly help
and make a
these
difference.
Beginning farmers. Yeah, make a difference.
Yep. That's awesome. So you go to law school, and then when you got out of law school, where did you go from there? Like sometimes, attorneys will start working for the prosecutor's office or clerking for a judge or what have you, or joining a firm. What was your plan?
Well, in the middle there, I also had a baby. So in the middle of law school, I'm older, so I couldn't put it on hold, right? So we had a baby my second year of law school, and still kept going. And then right out of law school, it was COVID. So I graduated law school March 2020, and the bar exam was supposed to take place July, and they canceled it. And it was supposed to take place in August, and they canceled it. And so finally they came up with the bar examiners came up with the provisional license program. So if you graduated during COVID, you could get a provisional license if you could find an attorney who would supervise you. So I was talking to every attorney, like, let me become an attorney. I'll work for you for pennies on the dollar while I'm getting ready to take the bar exam. And so I found this interesting attorney, and it was a real estate and foreclosure defense attorney. Mm-hmm. And so we were taking cases from the foreclosure crisis back in 2008, 2009.
Yep.
And that was my first job out of law school, was doing foreclosure defense, suing big banks, Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, Wells Fargo, you name it. And being the only person in the office doing it, doing discovery and litigation against all these banks.
That's awesome. So you clearly gained a ton of confidence. You're like, yeah, I can do this, right? And
I did everything. I did all of the mail triage. We didn't have a legal assistant. We didn't have a paralegal. I paid all the bills for the office. I did all the billing. I did all of the attorney's work and the legal secretary work, the filing. So I learned how to run a law firm in that year. And then I moved on quickly.
Right. And so then you were working for, I believe it was a woman, right, that had a firm.
Yep.
I remember that. And when I met you, and this was just literally 3 or 4 months ago, you were still working for her, and you had some arrangement where you could do your own thing as well. And
right. We still have that arrangement.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want me to.
Sure. But I'll bet you things have changed a little bit, right? Like you're growing your own practice. I mean, it's happening extremely quick. I mean, I'm really proud to be part of this, but it's almost too good to be true. Because I told you when we started working with you that, it takes 3-4 months for this to start trickling in, and then it'll get better and better and better over some months. But we really will try to engineer some quick wins for you in the way we approach it, which is what we did. None of us had any idea that it was going to take off like it did. So we learned a lot in that, and you benefited from it. And that's just, it's awesome. Good things happen to good people. And, this is a good case of that.
So it seems like with the time frame, I mean, it's really amazing that you are so busy now after you're out of law school 3 years, right? More or less. And, and practicing, and you're in your own business, and the phone's ringing, and you're doing business. You have business, you're making money. Fabulous. And you have the experience of knowing how to run a business.
Yeah, because they don't teach you that in law school. That experience that you had working for that guy, for that attorney doing the foreclosure defense and stuff, because you were doing all of that, that kind of set you up for where you are now to be able to build a firm and scale, because you know everything that has to happen, right? And so what I will tell you, because I've been doing this for 20 years, it's awesome that it started as fast as it did and it's growing as quickly as it did. It's not going to stop growing, right? Your organic rankings are going to continue to rise and rise and rise. And the geographical footprint that you have is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, that's the whole strategy that we have for you. So you're getting ready to hire your first attorney. We should revisit this in 3 months, and she'll probably have 3 attorneys, right? That's how this is the trajectory of this is seeming to grow for you. I think part of that is you're not in a really competitive niche in the area that you're in. So I think that's helping, because, people always ask me, well, how does Google decide what website they're going to display as a search result, right? Or as an option. A lot of it has to do with authority to the site, how credible Google thinks it is. A lot of it has to do with, content and relevancy and all of that. But I think there's not 300 lawyers that do exactly what you do in a 10-mile radius, right? So I think we were able to kind of cut through that a little bit quicker. And obviously you benefit from that. There's more of a need for it than maybe you even thought. And that's going to continue to grow and grow. The fact that you're a remote firm, you can take cases anywhere in California. And so that's the next part of the strategy, is to kind of figure out, not just growing your geographical area where you are now, but where else in California do you want to take some cases from that have, the type of cases that you take, right? So those will be some interesting conversations coming up, but I'm excited. We're just going to keep on growing with you. I'm just super proud. I can't stop smiling that this has done so well for you, because I know you just had another baby recently, and you've got a young family and growing, and you just hung out your shingle, and you're just like, hey, I'm just going to take my shot, and it's working.
I was so skeptical, I trusted you. I still trust you.
Thank you.
And I love Stephen and Julie and their response time. It's like, I feel like I have this whole team behind me, but I was so scared. But it felt like, I'm not putting a startup cost into an office, right? I am remote. And so this felt like whatever I would spend on an office, I'm putting it towards this.
Right.
So.
And it's paid off.
So much.
And this is a unique firm. Because my experience over 20 years has been, and I was with a number of different firms, right? Agencies representing my online marketing and my website. Only Jay was the one who really looked at my practice as a whole. What am I doing? Where do I want to go? What opportunities do I want to seek? And he was able to give me areas and an understanding of where I could be that I hadn't even thought about. Did you have a similar experience? Are you having that experience with them?
I don't think we've gotten there yet. I think we're still fixing the language on our website. I mean, that's how early we are in this process. I just approved some content for one of my pages a couple days ago.
Yep.
So we're not there yet.
Well, that's going to be a true result that you will have, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and I know you don't know this, I know a lot of our viewers do. Judy was my very first client in 2015. I was working with the NFL at the time, and we had been friends. We had met, I think in like 2007 or 2008. I just saw something on on an ad that she was running when I was doing something, some research for something. And I realized that she was just wasting money showing ads to me in Buffalo while she's in Connecticut. Right. So I just called her and I showed her how to fix that. That's how we met. It was complete fluke. I didn't have anything to sell her. I'm just like, Judy, here's why you're wasting all your money. You need to change one setting in your ad. And I showed her how to do it. And then it started working for her. So then I helped her run some ads. I gave her some advice, but then we just remained friends. So fast forward to 2015, I'm doing some work for the NFL. She calls me and she's like, listen, I got this guy that's doing my website. I'm paying all this money and it's not moving the needle. I don't even know what he's doing. I don't care what you're doing. You're going to help me with this. You're my friend. And I'm like, okay. So I just devised a strategy. I put it in front of her. I said, what do you think of this? And she said, you think it's going to work? And I said, I think so. And next thing you know, boom. Almost as fast as it happened for you, it happened for her. And she just was dominating. And, next thing you know, she's overwhelmed with clients. The cool part about that is she ended up retiring like 3 or 4 years prior to when you had planned on it, moved here full time. And like now we're best of friends. Like we hang out all the time. Her boyfriend's a friend of mine. I mean, we go out and do things together and we do this podcast together. And she helps us with some of our client stuff that we do, within our agency. So it just all kind of came full circle. And we just ran a campaign for her a year ago to get her elected as the commissioner of Highland Beach, which is where she lives. We kicked ass so bad that this time no one even ran against her. They're like, we're not running against her.
It was a J special. All digital.
To be in that place in like 10 years. So we'll talk again.
Can. Yeah. Absolutely, you can be. That's wonderful about law, about practicing law.
But like she got half the votes in a 3-way race, and she was, and no one knew who she was, right? So we had to build her as a brand, and then just get in front of people. And she's so busy doing a lot of other stuff, she didn't like go door knocking or any of that stuff. So we just smashed it with digital and made sure everyone in Highland Beach knew who she was every time they scroll on their phone.
Wow.
And she killed it. So now, like a month ago, she had to get her paperwork in and say, okay, I'm going to run again. And this time it's for a 3-year term instead of a 1-year term. And I think the people that would have run against her just realized how embarrassed they got. And they're like, nah, that's it. I'm not going to run against this woman. So she unopposed. So they just swore her in. So yeah,
that's great.
That's cool. So it's fun. I like to do stuff like that. I love to help Judy do whatever I can. I mean, we still run her mediation website. She still gets mediations now. So it's cool. So you and her have a lot in common in terms of how this worked and how quickly it worked. And you're as big of a success story as Judy is. And I'm just really proud to be part of that.
I'd love to follow your career. I think it's great. Just terrific.
Thanks.
And you'll be able to say the things to your children that you heard from your parents.
Yep. So here's kind of, I don't know, maybe a rhetorical question. I assume that you are an absolute believer in getting your digital marketing right to be able to build a law firm and how important that is.
Yes, of course. I mean, with this day and age, people are on their phones constantly.
Yep.
You have to have the digital. It's so hard to find the right, where to spend your money.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So difficult. Yeah. I feel very fortunate to have not, I didn't have to deal with a lot of the mistakes that people make in the beginning because I found, we talked right off the bat.
Right.
But I watch people do it and I watch people throw money away and, I'm not in that position. I'm not dealing with Facebook ads or Instagram ads. I know this certain way works and putting all of my money into that pocket.
Right. Well, you make it sound like we're so expensive.
No, I meant more for like Google leads.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to run any ads. I mean, it's been great for you. And I'm again, I can't stop smiling. I'm so happy for you because if anybody deserves it, it's you. I remember our first conversation and you basically made me promise that this was going to work. And I told you, if I don't think it's going to work, I'm not going to take your money. And we started.
You told me that.
Yep. And boom.
Yeah. You said in 6 months, if you don't have any clients, we'll just rip this contract up.
Yep.
And who says that? I never heard that.
Yeah. I mean, I was confident we would help her, but I wanted to help her. You know, no matter what it took, I wanted to bring you as a client, not for the money, but to be part of this story, right? You know, this is good for us. People that watch this that do go out on their own or are out on their own that want to scale, they're going to realize, hey, you know, maybe this Jay guy knows what he's doing and he's got a good team and they can make this work. But I wanted to make today more about you and your success and how happy I am to just be part of your team.
I think a lot of beginning attorneys think that they have to generate enough to put into creating what you created for me. And I'm really glad that I started there first, because it created this foundation that I feel relaxed about. I don't have to worry about it, and it works. It's moving.
Right. Yeah, you don't wake up in the morning and you're like, shit, where am I going to get my next client? I got a mortgage payment due in 2 weeks. And, you know, it might have been that way in the very beginning, but now hopefully you wake up and want to take on the world because you know the world's coming.
Yeah, it feels like a machine. It's working.
Yep. That's awesome.
It's working. That's the crux of the matter. Yep. It's working.
So
what area of the law do you practice in?
I practice mainly in real estate. Litigation, some transactional, and then I also still represent homeowners who have had wrongful foreclosures.
And what area of California are you in? Because I'd like our viewers to hear this. There may be referrals for you out there that they're interested in talking to you, both about your experience with Jay and as well as your practice.
Yeah, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's not an uncompetitive market.
No.
I mean, there's what, 5-6 million people up there, easy.
Right.
Yeah. So
I do a lot of homeowners association work, so both for the homeowners and the HOA, and then all kinds of neighbor disputes. I mean, those are the most dramatic. It's almost like a family law experience because neighbors can really hate each other.
Right.
So all kinds of neighbor disputes that involve the land.
So what's going to happen as we start to push you up north a little bit and get you into San Francisco in terms of where you're ranking and all of that? I mean, you ready for that? You're going to get hit.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
Cool. I mean, I hope you look at your dashboard every month and you see your keywords that were working and you see them increasing. So now you kind of get a feel for when it's going to hit. And now is probably the time to kind of get that figured out because it's coming. You think you're busy now. You have no idea.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Like I said, I'm hiring another attorney next week, and my intake specialist is going to start in 2 weeks. So,
and we've only been doing this like after the site was built for like 2 months, and you went from 0 to this to where you're hiring 2 staff.
Both my staff are native Spanish speakers too. So making sure to hit the market because there's quite California, like Miami.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, we get it from Cuba. You guys get it mostly from Mexico, but Spanish is Spanish. Yep.
Yeah.
So let's end it with this. Obviously, you've had a lot of success, and it's been very short, and you've had to figure a lot of stuff out quickly. And the experience you had with that firm before probably helped you kind of get ready for building your firm. But for all the young attorneys that are watching, that are in the same position that you are, that they want to get out of where they're at and go start their own firm, or somebody started a firm and now they want to scale it. Maybe they're struggling, or it's just kind of, turning money over and not making enough money, and they want to take it to the next level. What advice would you give them?
Well, first, for an attorney who's working at another firm, the thing that I did every time I worked, so I was a business owner before I became a lawyer. So I did have that experience. But if you aren't in that position and you're working for a firm, don't just do your assignments and that's the only part of the firm you see. You should be looking at who works for the law firm. What is their job? What are their duties? Are they necessary? Is this firm wasting money with these employees? How would you do things differently? What is your firm's intake process? What is their retainer process? How much are they asking for?
Just learn everything.
Yeah, just learn everything. Like learn how this organization is operating. Don't just tunnel vision do your assignments. So every firm that I've worked at, I've tried to do that, and I've hopefully created enough experience to do what I want to do and do the things that I like and fix the things that I didn't like.
Yep. And what other advice? Yeah. Well, what other advice would you give them if they're just thinking, I want to do it, but I'm nervous? And I mean, you were in that position, and thank goodness this all worked out as well as it did. But there's a lot of people that the only reason they're not going on their own is they're just not sure, where am I going to get clients? How am I going to feed my family? What's your advice
Well,
there?
for me, right now, we're a single family income. So that pressure was a lot on me. And I made sure I had additional income coming in so that I could do this. So I had contract work. So I was doing work for other law firms, not as an employee, so that I could still do my own firm.
Mhm.
So make sure that you are financially comfortable, that you can give yourself enough time and you're not stressing yourself out waiting for clients, or have enough saved up that you can be patient.
Right. All right. Well, Allison, it's been such a pleasure. I'm so happy that you came on our podcast today. Your story is awesome. I hope it resonates with everybody that's watching. You got a fan in me. I mean, I'm just very proud that my team and I have been able to be part of your journey, as short as a journey as it is right now. Right? It's only been a couple of months, and you went from not knowing if this was going to work and being nervous about it to hiring 2 employees in 2 months because it's been working, and that's going to continue to grow. So I'm super excited. We're going to have you back on at some point, maybe in 6 months, and she'll have like an office in a high rise with 20 attorneys. And it'll be awesome. Oh, thank you. No, thank you for putting your trust in us and allowing us to help you and be part of your journey. And, nobody could be happier than me. I promise you. And I know Stephen and Julie just adore you. So it's just a great relationship.
Well, wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, Allison, thank you so much. And we will be talking to you again on this podcast. I can see it.
All right.
All right.
Talk soon.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That does it for another episode of the Legal Authority Podcast, potentially my favorite episode of all time. Allison has such an awesome story and a lot of similarities to your story, right? When you came on with us.
Yes, yes. It really is terrific that we have had guests that have had different types of practices, and they all have had such great success with your help. Wonderful.
Well, we try. We try. So we will see you again shortly for another episode of the Legal Authority Podcast. Until then, everyone be safe and enjoy.
Thank you for listening to the Legal Authority Podcast. As always, you can hear us wherever you get your podcast. Please also make sure that you subscribe so that you're notified for each new episode. If you have a question that you'd like answered on the show, or to talk directly to Judy Goldberg, just go to thelegalauthority.com/podcast. Until next time.